All right, what's up, everyone? I thought I'd give a little info about something I've been researching and learning about. The real reason why people tear a bicep tendon deadlifting. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions on this. Granted, there's different ways you can tear one, but I believe this is really the most common. As of course, you guys, if you know me or whatever, watch some of my videos, you know I tore my distal bicep tendon. Um, so, and the bicep, well, I'll start with my good arm here, comes down and stops right in here. Now the tendon comes and actually mounts to your radial forearm here, and it has to do with your twisting and curling of your arm. So it rotates as well as curls. Now you can see my split a little bit here, biceps and your brachialis here, probably more official name for them, but here you can kind of see that there's actually, of course, your biceps brachii and your brachialis down in here. Now the biceps, I'll just call it biceps or whatever short, but it's biceps brachialis, and then your brachii here. Your brachii has to do with curling as well of your arm, while the bicep curls and supinates, pronates the wrist here. So it comes down here and attaches to your forearm bone, and that's the way it kind of twists your arm. So it has to do with that. And if you notice here, still working on getting my rotation back. It's getting close or whatever in there, but as you notice here, there's some damage that occurred. While this point here is about the same height here, this tip that used to go lower to about here had some damage. So the tendon, obviously they made an incision here on my arm where they came in, because you can imagine the tendon to the bicep comes in and rotates up on here. Now, of course, there is the two attachment points to the shoulder area here. Some people tear that, but I'll just be talking about the distal bicep tendon here that you can see. So most people assume, or at least it's what I've been hearing, get the focus right, come on. All right, from coming up here, they say keep your arm straight, because they believe that if you curl your arm, you're putting a lot of stress on your bicep. So you come up, people say that they're like jerking it or bending it and the biceps tear. Well, that could be a possibility. It's not, may not necessarily tear the or detach the tendon from the bone, which is what happened to me, but it also could tear your muscle from up here. I don't have any scientific research or studies on it. I'm assuming, because I know some people that tear it here, but when they do tear it, it's from the muscle, is from like in a curling motion. Now the bicep tendon here, down here, is actually somewhat strong, so you keep your arm straight, people say you won't tear it. So when you coming in here, locking it out, doing this versus trying to jerk it up, like pull it back to pull it up, they say you're getting a lot of force. Now, of course, everybody, if they do an overhand grip, which is what I did there, this one is the one that has the stress on the tendon here, because it's an overhand. This here doesn't really push out. Plus, coming up like this here, you could kind of curl back, but it's more using your back to do it. A little bit of the bicep here if you're going underhand, versus here you are able to do some more with the, use a lot more force with your bicep on it. Now, something I discovered, somebody actually pointed out to me or whatever. I was talking to some guy I worked with. He watched a video. I wish I would have known the game of the guy who did the video about like the real reason why people tear their bicep tendon on the deadlift. So I wish I could give him the video guy the credit on this, but once I did the positions and everything and realized that, hey, this is the reason why, because when I was deadlifting, I'm very positive I had my arms straight. I always keep my arms straight. I don't curl back, so they just come up here and like that, whatever. Granted, like here, my arm doesn't really move out. Arms like usually stressed down, the weight's pulling down on here. You can see my bicep like really stretch though too. Now, this is what I discovered here. Rotating your arm here, supinating it. Okay, you got your bicep tendon. It's somewhat stretched out here. Now, curling, you don't feel much stress on this tendon. Now, what you do, rotate it and then cock your elbow down. Now, you really feel your bicep like stretch, and you feel pressure right here, just doing that. Like booing your elbow back. I mean, I'm feeling it right in here. Feeling that stretch for that tendon. It's really getting stretched. So, the actual cause of bicep tears on the deadlift, you're in this supinated position, your palms up here, you're coming back, move over here, and your wrist cocks back a little bit. And I like just doing that, I feel the pressure on my tendon, like majorly or whatever. I can feel it stretch. So add a good amount of weight. I was only doing like 550 with some red bands. I'm not sure how much that was on the top, but I believe when I came up, I was trying to lock out. In my third rep, I like pulled back here and it just popped, whatever. I think the cause of the bands caused it, so my wrist, I can't even really do that now because I'm really feeling it here on my repaired bicep. But I'll do this hand here, coming back, and the wrist just trying to lean back here, doing that, just popped it. Because all I did is just came up and just felt it pop. So coming back, slight cock of the wrist, I'm feeling all that stress right in here, right where my tendon attaches, and it just popped. Felt a pop. So it's not really when people deadlift, you're coming up trying to go like this. That most likely won't. It could cause a tear, but most likely not. That muscle can hold a lot or whatever, but you stretch that tendon out, then put stress on it. So you got your arm straight, rotated, wrist rotated, and then cock back. Then add some weight there. That's what pops it. Anyway, so that's one thing I can discover. I mean, you can just do that with your arm here and feel it. So like try it out yourself and see. So ways I've been trying to think about, like how to prevent it or whatever, because now hook grip's not working for me too well. You could do the hook grip, whatever. So like a bar here or whatever, I just can't quite get the hook grip to work or whatever. I mean, I don't have stubby fingers or anything, but they're not long by any means. I'd say they're just average. My grip strength, before I tore my bicep tendon, never had a problem with grip strength on deadlifts. Never dropped a deadlift due to grip strength, but I mean, I've rack pulled 826 or whatever from above the knees or whatever, just to work on grip and everything. So I know grabbing the bar harder and everything helps me get it off the floor and complete the lift. Even though I may not drop it, it just helps me bring the lift up, because it all has to do with tying in. When you grab it hard, it just transfers all that force up to your back. So you stay tight and everything, get everything tight, your grip super tight. It just helps you pull more on it. So that's one thing with grips, hasn't been a problem. So I'm switching over so far, like this, because this is a 100%. I'm not sure when it will be, if it will be ever, whatever. Some people, doctors, some say that you'll never tear again. That's not necessarily true. My doctor kind of talked to me about this. Or surgeon, I should say, well, the doctor surgeon, but he was saying that people say, it's like some say that it's stronger than it was before or whatever, but he says it should be as strong. I'm not quite sure this is quite healed enough yet. It's getting close to a year now and everything, but I was doing a time or whatever where I was gripping this over, it was feeling good, then I got up to a certain amount of weight, like top set, and I kind of like thought I felt something pop again, freaked me out bad, like I tore it again, I gotta go through this again. Felt real quick, okay, everything's on there, tendons on there, what just happened, I don't know. It was sore, kind of took me back a few months of progress I made on my arm recovery, so haven't done that since, so I just been doing here, even though I kind of like feel some stress on this one. I don't know if it's just because I haven't really worked it at the point where this was been underhand for so many years, and this is now just starting to work. So I probably need to strengthen that tendon, which takes time. Whether or not they get weakened or not, I don't know in my old age, but doing it therefore. So I'm trying to think of different ways because I'm really sure like it's the wrist cocking back. So trying to figure out a way to wear wrist straps on this hand. Maybe that helps. Maybe it could help it. So I'm going to be experimenting sometimes, see if wrist strap, because usually wrist wraps, excuse me, not wrist straps, but wrist wraps kind of weaken my grip almost, or whatever. I just can't grind down. But the main thing I want to accomplish is so if I could get it where I could still grab onto it hard, but prevent me from cocking my wrist back to avoid that extra stretch of the bicep tendon. So hopefully keep this thing on, because if this thing goes, that kind of screws up my career for powerlifting, if you call it that, for a while. It took quite a bit of work to get it back, this back or whatever. Finally through, I wasn't kind of sure, getting as old as I am and everything. I'm not in my 20s, so I recover longer and everything. That I have to train a lot smarter to avoid injury, so I don't know if another injury would just set me back. So I really want to avoid it if possible, because it just sucks to have your bicep tendon tear off. You're down for quite a long time. But anyways, I think one of the keys to keeping your bicep tendon from staying on the bone is not cock your wrist back. Another thing I've been trying to do, instead of rotating my arm like this as much and have all my fingers in the bar, kind of keep it a little bit like this, so the wrist isn't all the way turned on it like this, but just have enough grip here. Have these pinky and ring finger a little loose, which means my index and middle finger has to do more work or whatever, and of course thumb, but trying to use more of those and less of my pinky and my ring to pull it, so I can slightly turn my wrist in a little bit so I don't get that extreme stretch whatever too. So anyways, that's the way I've been hoping so I don't tear this, because I've heard of a few people, they tear this bicep, it heals, or they get surgery, heals, they go into this, like a few months later end up tearing that, and don't want that to happen. Luckily I've gotten down one meet. Deadlift was pretty weak. Just got my 640 opener, failed twice at 680 at the knees, which I was hoping to make a peak deadlift PR, but I haven't PR'd my deadlift in a couple of years. So I got another meet up this Saturday. Not sure my deadlift is strong enough, but I'm hoping just to make a few pound PR so I can move my deadlift in the right direction anyway. So anyways, hope that guy opens your eyes or whatever to realize like the real reason like people can tear their deadlift, and like to help you prevent that, not just thinking, okay, my arm was straight or whatever, and then tear it anyways. I keep my arm straight because that's happened to me. My arms were straight, it popped anyways. So I'm pretty sure it had to do with me cocking my wrist back. So anything, that's one thing to consciously think of or whatever, to make sure that wrist doesn't cock back when it's rotated like that. It's going to happen like right at the top too, because all that pressure is just going to do that when your shoulders back here and your biceps just really stretched out. You won't be flexing it really. You'll be hopefully flexing your triceps and everything, but just the stretch and that pull of your wrist down will just really stress that tendon. So something to look for or whatever, to hopefully it'll help people from tearing their biceps, because it sucks and I don't want it to happen to anyone. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.